Hello, Facebook community. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Angel Ellers. I am one of the environmental educators here at the Greenbelt. And today we have something really exciting for you. We have the first installment of our monthly Meet Our Animal Ambassadors program. It's going to be run by environmental educator Christopher Ricker. Hi, Karen. Nice to see you. And it's going to be every month, every second Wednesday at 2 p.m. unless it turns out that there's a better time for all of you. So let us know what is best, but otherwise it will be at 2 p.m. And we're going to kind of bring you through and meet all of the different animal creatures that we have here in the High Rock Education Building and maybe even down at the Nature Center. So we also have environmental educator Karen Roos here with us to help with some questions today. And without further ado, we'll bring it over to Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hey, everyone. Happy afternoon. I hope that if you're here on Staten Island, you're enjoying the beautiful snow that's cascading down from the skies right now. We definitely are here at High Rock Park. And if you're beyond Staten Island somewhere else, we hope that you're enjoying whatever weather you are currently having. As Angel mentioned, each month we will be meeting one of our ambassador animals here at the Greenbelt. And so our mission is to teach people about the environment and the natural world, and sometimes it includes going out on hikes, sometimes it includes exploring different environmental topics, and sometimes it involves encounters with animals. And you can't always count on an encounter with wildlife. Sometimes they hang around your trails, sometimes you see them in the park, sometimes you don't. But here at Greenbelt Education, we have a variety of different animals that we use as ambassadors for their species. And so what's an ambassador? That's someone or something that represents a whole group of other things. In this case, it's animals. This month, we're going to meet one of our animal ambassadors who has been working here at the Greenbelt for about 6 or 7 years now. And that animal is Flower. So Flower is a turtle, not a flower, as you can see. And she is probably around 18 or 19 years old. So she has been at the Greenbelt for a really long time, meeting school groups, getting to know some of our public patrons, as well as teaching people about turtles and turtle habitat and turtle conservation. She's a pretty big girl, as you can see there. Her shell is almost larger than my entire hand. What do you notice when you look at Flower? She's got a head, she has some limbs. As I mentioned, there's a shell. What coloration might you be able to see looking through your Facebook account cameras? Yeah, I also noticed that red on there too. So this is where Flower gets her name, and her name is a red-eared slider. Even though these aren't actual ears right here, they're kind of close to her ears, and it's those red marks where her name derives from, being a red-eared slider. So she's definitely not shy, and she's giving you a little bit of a wave. And now that she's giving you a wave, what do you notice about her little feet? What do they look like? Well, I noticed that, and she's a little bit hesitant to bring her foot, that there's some webbing in between her toes. So if an animal has webbing between her toes, where do you think the animal might live? I mean, I don't think an animal with webbed feet is necessarily going to live in the desert, right? Or on a mountaintop? Now, I think that Flower here has webbed feet because she enjoys to live in the water. So in wetlands, places like ponds and lakes. And red-eared sliders originally come from the southeastern part of the United States. So places around like Georgia and Florida. But we see Flowers species of turtle, red-eared sliders, on Staten Island a lot. You might see them in the Poconos. If you go to Australia or England or even China, you're also going to see red-eared sliders. And that has a lot to do with the pet trade. So red-eared sliders, which started in a couple states in the United States, have made their way to every single continent on this planet, minus Antarctica. And that is because individuals like to buy little turtles as pets. And this was a big deal in like the 1920s and 30s and 40s, that people were buying these little red-eared sliders. And because of human assistance, this turtle has made its way all over the planet and has now affected other ecosystems. So at the Greenbelt, we try to teach a lot about conservation, and part of conservation is not only learning about the animals, but learning about their environments and how they might affect other environments if they're introduced there. So we're going to make sure that Flower here never makes her way to England or Australia, or at least not without us accompanying her to maybe teach people there why it's important to keep red-eared sliders as pets in your home and not release them in the wild. So some other things we notice about Flower are the shells, right? So the top of a turtle shell, whether you're talking about a red-eared slider, a box turtle, or a mud turtle, is called a carapace. So the carapace is the top shell, and shells actually derive from turtles' ribs. So over millions and millions of years, their ribs have evolved to create this protection on the outside of their body. So it's not like a home like you and I live in where we can go in and out. This shell is a part of Flower's body. Now the underside of Flower's shell is known as the plasterin. So again, you can see similar ascutes. Those are the scales on shells. But the bottom side's a little bit flatter than the carapace portion. And she's dancing a little bit because she might not totally like being held like that. So we'll just put her down on her plasterin so we can see her carapace. Now, Flower is a female red-eared slider. And we know that she's a female red-eared slider, number one, because of her size, but also because of these front fingernails. So they're kind of short. They're still long, right? But if you were to compare these fingernails to a male red-eared slider, he would have much longer fingernails. And male red-eared sliders grow really long fingernails because that's how they attract lady red-eared sliders. They go, ooh, look how pretty my fingernails are. And they come over and kind of wiggle it in her face, and she'll go, those are very nice fingernails indeed. Let's be friends. So before we said that Flower is a turtle, does anybody at home know what kind of animal a turtle is? Do you think it's a bird? Does she look like a rodent, like a hamster? Maybe I'll give it a second in case someone in the audience has a guess. So what kind of animal, what family, do turtles fall into? Are they birds? Are they mammals? Are they amphibians? Are they fish? Are they reptiles? That's right, they are reptiles. Good job out there in Facebook land. So, Flower belongs to the reptile family. And so what makes a reptile a reptile? Well, before I said that these were ascutes, and ascutes are a type of bony scale. So reptiles will always have scales. So we have these scales here, and on her legs as well, there are scales. Reptiles have backbones. And so over here, just like you and I, Flower has a backbone, making her a vertebrate, something with a backbone. Reptiles are also cold-blooded. So what that means is they rely on the temperature in their environment to create energy. So you and I on a cold day when it's snowing outside might eat a chicken pot pie to stay warm. Well, for Flower would need to go out and bask in the sun and thermoregulate her temperature. So again, reptiles are cold-blooded, they have scales, they have backbones, and for the most part, they lay eggs. Not all reptiles lay eggs, but a lot of them do. We're getting real close and personal. You can see how beautiful her eyes are. They are really pretty turtles.
Heather would like to know what they eat.
That's an excellent question, Heather. So, red-eared sliders will eat a lot of different things. And what they eat in the wild might be a little bit different from what they eat in captivity. So Flower in captivity eats a lot of turtle pellets, which have a combination of calciums and proteins and veggies. Occasionally, we'll give her some goldfish, some feeder fish. On a very rare occasion, she might eat a frozen and thawed mouse. So in the wild, red-eared sliders will eat a mixture of plant life, invertebrates. If they can, they'll scavenge some meat. I've seen red-eared sliders eating some scavenged meat off of a dead mammal on the edge of a pond. But for the most part, as they get older, they're going to eat a lot of plant-based things, so aquatic plants and vegetation.
All right, Liam and Flynn just joined us.
Excellent. Hello, Liam and Flynn. We're talking about Flower. If anyone is joining us right now as well, this is Flower, one of the Greenbelt Education's ambassador animals. We discussed that Flower is a red-eared slider. So she's a turtle that originates from the southeastern part of the United States. Through the pet trade, this turtle has also been introduced to every continent on the planet minus Antarctica. Pretty large turtle that is semi-aquatic. So she has webbed feet to swim in the water. And then in order to regulate her body temperature, like all reptiles, she'll climb out onto the land or a log and do something which is known as basking. So she'll bask in order to regulate her body temperature and metabolism. We discussed that Flower is a lady turtle, and a lot of that has to do with the size of her, as well as her front fingernails, which are much shorter in comparison to male red-eared sliders. Now, sometimes when you're out at different parks and ponds around Staten Island, you might see another turtle that looks really similar in size and body shape to Flower, but might be missing these red ears, but still has a pretty bright yellow underside or even bright yellow along the side of the head. And those are yellow-bellied sliders, which even though they have a different name and different ears, they're actually the same species. They're just a subspecies of a red-eared slider. So just regional variation coming from different parts of the country and a slightly different locality has made them evolve in a certain way that's slightly different from one another, but they're still the same species. Now, we said that red-eared sliders are not native to New York. So what are some of the native turtles that can be found on Staten Island? Well, we have the eastern painted turtle, which is significantly smaller, and maybe we'll meet one at a later monthly Meet the Animal Ambassadors dates. We have the snapping turtle, or common snapping turtle, which is the largest of our turtles in the area. We used to have spotted turtles on Staten Island. Some people say there's still some around and have seen them, but because of habitat fragmentation, so that means some place that's wooded or forested or has a pond has been cut up for houses or malls or shopping centers or highways, those spotted turtles really had a challenge to hold on to that habitat on Staten Island.
Liam wants to know why she's running in midair.
This is part of her Zumba exercises. No. So she just wants to walk around. She's excited to explore. And we're up here on a table. I don't want her to take a plunge. So I just continuously am moving her, which she tolerates. I'm sure it's a little bit like, man, I don't want to keep starting at the same spot again. So, again, it's really exciting to have these ambassador animals here because each year we have thousands of different students come through the Greenbelt, through school trips, through public programs, through virtual programs. And so our animals like Flower get to interact with all those people and hopefully tell them, hey, I'm really cool and I need your help in protecting my environment. Because unless people like you at home watching this video care about the outdoors, Flower's cousins, aunts, uncles who are living out there in different parts of the world are going to struggle to keep their homes. And so it's our job as stewards and environmental fans to continue to advocate for habitat protection and conservation. And so it's Flower's job to tell all of you at home, let's keep doing the right thing. Let's keep visiting parks and protecting lands, protecting clean water, and protecting clean air. She really appreciates that. So now that we've talked all about Flower, I just want to open it to any questions any of you might have before we wrap it up and Flower can go back to eating her turtle pellets.
Speaking of eating, Heather was wondering if Flower might eat pizza
So,
if she were given the chance.
right, so Flower would probably eat anything given the chance. But human food is not good for wildlife. A lot of times wildlife can't digest human food. Sometimes humans can't digest human food. So for us, it's best to not feed wildlife in the wild. And if you have animals that are ambassador animals or pets at home, you should consult a veterinarian or do research to find out the proper diet for your animal ambassador.
So there's a little bit of a lag between what we're saying and what they're hearing. So I'm going to give it a few seconds for people to ask some more questions. How old is Flower now?
Right,
Did we
so
talk about that?
yeah, I said earlier that Flower is 19 years old, is what Maritza Cuevas, our Director of Education, said, and has been at the Greenbelt for 6 or 7 years.
See any other questions, but we'll give it a minute.
No? Okay, awesome. So thank you all for joining us for our Greenbelt at Home Meet Our Animal Ambassadors. As Angel mentioned earlier, we're going to continue this program monthly. As of right now, it will remain the same second Wednesday of every month at 2 p.m. unless you all have some feedback that it would be better at a different time. And we're always open to that, and we can move if schedules allow it so that we can optimize all of your time, our time, and our animal ambassadors' time.
Liam said thank you.
Thank you, Liam. If you are interested in more virtual content, you can visit our events page at sigreenbelt.org to find out when all of our virtual programs are going on. And we also have the Staten Island Greenbelt YouTube page, which you can visit for all of our video content as well. So that's all we have for today. I hope you enjoy the snow or whatever the weather is currently where you are. And we hope to see you again virtually or in person in the coming months. Have a good one.